to, physical comedy. And at the end, when he hits me and he's supposed to knock me out, originally he wanted me in my bra and panties and high heels to do a free fall into a large glass parsons table lit with 100 candles. And I just said, I can't. He goes, you can. And he kept trying to show me how, he was going to do it and how I would spin around and fall into it and everything would be fine. Well, in the end, I ended up just standing against a wall and he hits me and I just slide down and I fall onto a mattress. Because I am not that kind of physical comic. And I also don't want to end up on Percodan for the rest of my life from all the injuries that, he had, so.
Have you ever experienced anything similar to the King of Comedy with crazed fans in real life?
The only time I really came close to that is when I've hung out with some other, infamous people who collect those kinds of fans. But on my own, people have always been pretty cool. I think they respect my space. I think they're a little intimidated by me. I like to keep it that way.
Sarah Silverman is copying what you have done for years and beat this path.
No, I don't think what she does bears any resemblance to what I do. I think that I don't think she even knows what she's doing. I think it's she just went for something. She's Jimmy Kimmel's her boyfriend. She hangs out with the guys. She probably figured I'm going to give this a shot. And there's a perfect example to me of something that I don't know. I don't feel like she really has enough layers and levels to what she's trying to say to fully pull it off. It just comes across as I don't know, just kind of, I don't like it. I don't know, it's just not my cup of. Diane Cannon came in. She was always fun and crazy. Jacqueline Smith from Charlie's Angels. She was a terrible tipper. Victoria Principal, I was just in awe because she was so gorgeous. One person, I'm blanking on her name right now, she played Gold in My Ear on Broadway. What's her name? That actress, somebody knows. Tova Feldship. Tova was she was a little bit, condescending. How's your little career going? And I'm like, now I run into her and she's like, I'm always delightful to her though, because I have a lot of Brahmanas. You learn from people. You learn what not to do. You learn how not to be from when people are not particularly, supportive or understanding. And it's a trip, and it's great. And you evolve through your learning process.
How did you come across the Comedy Store in L.A.? Why do you think they hired you, and what do you attribute that made you a popular staple there?
Well, they never hired anybody there, first of all. I mean, you just performed for free. Until we actually went on strike in the late 70s. No, it's true. It was, and I remember everybody was in the line. David Letterman, Jay Leno, people who now are, superstars. We all picketed the Comedy Store because they did not pay us anything. So eventually they started giving us a stipend, $25, $50. And then they opened up a room just for women comedians called the Belly Room. So I was at first a staple of the Belly Room. It was a very small, just a quarter of this room here. And but it gave me a lot of confidence because they came to see women in comedy, and it wasn't like you were compared against men, because then when you go downstairs to the bigger rooms and you got up and the men had been performing all night, they were used to a different speed and intensity, and I just did something very different. So, it was a launching pad, and it was a place to to work out your kinks.
How did you land your first role in Martin Scorsese's film The King of Comedy?
Well, actually a friend of mine who had auditioned for the role, my friend Lucy Webb, had recommended me to Sis Corman, who cast the film. They had seen everybody. I think even Meryl Streep had auditioned for the role, and I came in kind of late in the game. They'd seen at least 500 actresses, and so I went in and auditioned for Sis Corman, and she was totally blown away. It was very similar to what I did in the film, and I was crazy and full of this hyper energy that I had when I was 24, 25 years old. And then she set up the next audition for Scorsese and De Niro Then they came to see me perform at the Comedy Store. Richard Belzer actually came and did like a little improv with me so that they could see me, because that's what really what the film was about. They wanted somebody who could do improvisation, because so much of the role was improvised. And that kind of convinced them. But then they flew me to New York after that for the third round of auditioning with Jerry Lewis. And that, for me, was the most intimidating, because, you know, growing up, you know, Jerry Lewis, I mean, he's like this, megawatt legend. And that was the hardest part of the audition, because he was very, like, you know, his character was very detached and very cold, and Jerry has a tendency in that time, especially, of not really feeling particularly supportive of women. I don't think he ever thought women were funny. I think he actually made that statement, along with Christopher Hitchens. I don't know if you read that article in Vanity Fair, but he declared that women are not funny, but he did give me a special dispensation.